Hello everybody, welcome in to the Manny Rays NOMA Truck Series here on Ghost Racing Network, where we are at a little bit of a special track on the season, I guess if you will. It is the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway. Let's get right into your race info as we talk more about this triangular shaped racetrack. Looking at the track length, it is coming in at 2.5 miles, tied with the same length as Daytona. Not quite as big as Talladega, but the temperature on track is going to be 101 degrees Fahrenheit. The race tonight is the Tricky Triangle 200. We are in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 80 laps here, 70% fuel, 5 sets of tires, 1 fast pair fixed setups as always. Stage 1, lap 15 will be the caution. Stage 2 ends on lap 38. That will be the second scheduled caution, and if we were to need them, we do have 3 green-white checkers, obviously hoping that we don't need them. We just got here a little bit after qualifying, so we usually don't watch qualifying, but I was watching some of these guys, and some of them are not looking like they're feeling too comfortable in their trucks. I'll tell you who is looking like they feel really comfortable, though, and that is William McKellar in the 75 truck. Starting to his outside is going to be Kenneth Riedinger in the 24 truck. Third, Justin Parham. Robert Dubendak, fourth. Matthew Dyer in fifth. Joey Hickox for Hickox Racing starts sixth. He's got his teammate Randy Bonomi in seventh. Russ Kilgore, eighth. Moving back to row 5, it's going to be Sam Boutwell and Paul Witt for Max Speed TV. John Bell starts 11th with Vicente Guerrero and is outside in 12th. Edward Smith 13th, Mark Jackson 14th, Jeff Carl 15th, DJ Mattis 16th. Row 9 is going to be Albert Hewins and another Hickox Racing driver. That's Chris Akers 19th, Matthew Fritz 20th, Robert Jordan 21st, Fuzz Yater. Good to see him back out here tonight. 22nd, Guy Braco 23rd, and the last truck in the field tonight is James Scamordella in the 75 truck. Let's get down trackside here. One of the things that's going to be a little different tonight is Pocono. I mean, it almost feels like a remote track. These guys are going to be so far away from the start-finish line when they are halfway through the track. But I think the main thing we're going to be talking about tonight is just this track does not race anywhere like any of the other tracks that these guys have been to or are going to go to. You have long straightaways. We're going to see a ton of drafting, maybe some pushing, but the front stretch is so wide. If these guys set it up right, no surprise to see potentially 4, 5, maybe even 6 wide. It's very possible, and you'll get a good view of it here on the front stretch as the pace truck pulls off. There you go, into the Geico restart zone. We are racing here at Pocono. Pretty good restart here for Kenneth Riedinger. He is going to take the lead away. You see these guys, there you go, fan out already, restart. I wanted to talk about it a little more before we got to the green flag, but what better way to talk than to show you prime time. Joey Hickox trying to work his way around the outside. We'll see what lanes really work as they now work their way down the short chute straightaway into turn 2, which is referred to as the tunnel turn. This is the fastest turn on the track right here. Very tight though. We're not going to see a lot of guys trying 3 wide through it. In fact, look at TV3. You see just the gap some of these guys can make through that. If you are good in the tunnel turn, you are going to make a lot of time on other guys. If you are not so good in the tunnel turn, it is going to come back to bite you pretty much the whole night. Working into the final turn here, it's going to be a big sweeping turn 3. There is no turn 4 here at Pocono, and this will lead them on to that front stretch. Good thing about turn 3 here is there's a lot of areas that you can move around in turn 3 and set yourself up really nicely for the front stretch here. And look at Kenneth Riedinger trying to dive low. He is trying to break that big draft that Robert Dubendak gets all the way down here to turn 1, where they get back out of it and get on the brakes. Further back, everybody is starting to spread out a little bit. We do still have some side-by-side back here with Mark Jackson and Chris Akers on the inside. Jeff Carl and DJ Mattis just behind these two. They're going to try to sort this out, hopefully, here before we get to the tunnel turn. Sure enough, Chris Akers says no thank you, and he is going to drop right in behind that one truck. Further back, everybody is just about single file. It's the 48. That's Matthew Fritz. Looks like he is going to try to go side-by-side just for a second with Guy Braco. But you see that outside line does have to give. It just really can't stick up. We do have a couple people in the chat already rooting these guys on. Nancy Hickox, Raymond Daniels Sr. Ooh, the 24 got really, really tight off turn 3. You saw him have to almost come out of the throttle to not hit the wall. Let's take a look at some of these speeds these guys are going to get up to here. Kenneth, of course, did have to back out of the throttle, so he is not running nearly as fast. His second place is going to be down here, and that is Robert Dubendak up to 180 entering turn 1. All the way down into the mid-140s. Down in turn 1. With that stage break coming up on lap 15. None of these guys should have to pit before then, so this is just a race to see how many positions you can get in this first short sprint. Didn't really talk about the weather, but you see it here on the side. We talked about that track temp, which is currently sitting at 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind not a factor today, which is good because the track's already tricky enough. 2 miles an hour. Skies are clear, and temperatures in 79 degrees Fahrenheit outside. 9% humidity. Kenneth Riedinger, one of the guys that it seems like every time we're out here watching him, he is leading at least at some point. Had a good run last time we were out here. Here he is having a good run tonight. And his teammate Justin Parham currently going in the wrong direction. Not too bad, only down 4 spots from where he started. But I think these two are maybe kind of like, I don't know what you maybe call them, the underdog team, I guess, if you will. Only 2 guys, both on Grandstand Racing, and they're trying to put it to some of the bigger teams such as Hickox Racing and Max Speed TV. Just get a view of these guys going by you there at over 160 miles an hour, but down to the tunnel turn, Kenneth Riedinger still has the lead. I thought he would have pulled away a little bit more by now. Part of that is that big draft that drivers such as Robert Duvenak and Joey Hickox are continuing to get. And on the front stretch, if you're going to make a move, I think that preferred lane is going to be on the inside into turn 1. And that makes it really, really tough to defend. If we get a late restart, it will be very, very interesting to see. The leader tries to choose the outside to keep that guy on the inside farther back, or if he sticks with the inside, knowing that that is going to be the preferred lane. Field already getting pretty separated over this 2.5 mile triangular shaped, not really an oval, but racetrack, and we're going to see a little bit of 2 wide here. Joey Hickox gets by Robert Duvendak, no issue. Robert's trying to get down low. He's not going to be able to hold off the block on William McKellar, but William's going to give him a break here and just try to work his way around the outside. We saw William McKellar get the win at Talladega Super Speedway. And if we get, well, we'll have our stage break, so we'll try to talk to some of these guys later, but last time told you he'd give an interview. It was a little bit different than the interview I was expecting, but he let me know in the chat. He said, hey man, next time I'm talking to you, you'll get that interview you're looking for. I promise you that. So if we get a chance to talk to William later, it's going to be interesting. Looks like Lori says, hi all, too many Reese's trucks. This mom is confused. And sure enough, we had, I believe, like 4 or 5 trucks running the Reese's. Let's start all the way back here with the first one. The one that's the furthest back right now, but that's Guy Braco. Move up to James Scamordella in the 79. He is also in a Reese's truck. Then you go up to Fuzz Yater, currently running in 19th. He's in a Reese's truck. Let's keep going all the way up here to Chris Akers. Guess what? He's in a Reese's truck. And finally going all the way up to Robert Duvendak. He is also in a Reese's truck. So we have a lot of candy-sponsored cars out here tonight, and boy, it would be sweet if one of them could get the win. 24, though, Kenneth Riedinger still leads. Joey Hickox looks like he is finding some speed. The gap kind of stretched out a little bit early, but since it initially stretched, it's kind of been holding between half a second and a second here. And it feels like we've been racing for a little bit, but you see we are only 6 laps in. William McKellar trying to close in on Joey Hickox. I don't think the draft is quite as big in the trucks as we might see in some of the other series, such as the Next Gens. So it's not like it comes out of nowhere. It's further back. Here we go, Paul Witt. He's going to dive it down to the inside of Robert Duvendak into turn 1, and it'll be interesting to see who can save their tires and who goes for it early here. One of the biggest tracks that they're going to go to of the season. Not the biggest track. That's still, that record, I guess, if you will, is still held by Talladega Super Speedway, which we have already went to once this season. The 429 of Paul Witt. Let's talk about this guy for a minute. Rocking a little bit of a special paint scheme tonight. You see it there, the Autism paint scheme. That's a good-looking 429 truck. Paul Witt is one of the Max Speed TV drivers. He has shown strength throughout most of the season, at least from what I've covered so far. Again, I did join in at the start, kind of a little bit towards the middle part of the season, but he seems like he has had a top 10 truck every race, and a top 5 for most of them. And right now he is trying to catch the back of Russ Kilgore, who is one of the independent drivers of the field, the driver out of Yorksville, Illinois. Having a pretty good run. He is currently up 4 spots from where he started, and I think we're starting to see the guys who were maybe a little bit easier on their tires, we're going to start slowly but surely prevailing here. Kenneth Riedinger is still leading. He's got that gap not really stretched out anymore from where it's been. Joey Hickox in the 75, maybe doing a little bit of working together right here. You figure if William isn't that much faster than Joey, he might be able to call him saying, hey, Joey, man, just do your thing. If I get to you on the front stretch, I'm just going to push you here. And they're trying to make up as much time as they possibly can. 8 laps of the 80 completed so far here tonight. If you are just tuning in, You're watching the Tricky Triangle 200 here at Pocono Raceway on Ghost Racing Network. Joey runs a little bit of a lower exit there than William McKellar. And it seemed like William maybe got a little too high right there. Kenneth Riedinger stretching it out now by another tenth of a second. It's further back. Paul Witt jumping to the inside here. We'll see if he can make it work. It looks like he's getting, sorry, not Paul Witt, excuse me, Matthew Dyer. Paul Witt is up one spot in this battle. And this is the battle for fifth. Right now, the outside seems to have the momentum. Paul Witt in the 429 truck is going to get by. Go into our TV3 cam. You can see this camera is on the front stretch. You see just how far away these guys really are at certain points in the track here. The 28 seems to be running pretty strong. The 99, Robert Duvendak, got high, maybe even scraped the wall. He had to get out of the throttle. Matthew Dyer's going to go by. And Justin Parham looks like he is going to try to capitalize on it. Can't quite close in by the time these guys reach turn 3. But out of turn 4, Duvendak looks like he's got himself back together, back on the back bumper of the 2 truck. And he's going to give him a big shove here down the front stretch. Those are those pushes that we're going to see all night. Does he try to make a run here into turn 1? Looks like he is content to stay back. A lot of patience. One of the veterans here of the Truck Series. As we go back, taking a look at Vicente Guerrero in 11th, up one spot from where he started. Oh, Justin Parham has had an issue of sorts here. He is off track. I think he may have just disconnected. Was he blinking? He may have just potentially been blinking here. We're working on it. And I believe, thankfully, he just had a major blink or something on my end, because you see he is back now. Man, I was worried for a little second. I was about to say, 19, he was looking so strong. Yeah, you just saw him blinking right there. Hopefully his internet can hold on. Guy Braco currently not having the best night so far. Albert Hewen's back here in the 55 with Fuzz Yater. The first of those Reese's, or second of those Reese's trucks back here. James Skimmerdeller, another one of the Reese's trucks. Mark Jackson in 18th. Mark Jackson, we saw him starting out pretty fast, and he's one of the guys that I haven't seen so far. You got to think maybe a little bit of a rookie mistake there. Not much, but he might have been trying to go for a little too much too early. And tires do shred here pretty aggressively at Pocono. You got to save them. In fact, let's ride on board with your leader, Kenneth Riedinger, and you can listen to the throttle inputs and output here through the tunnel turn and through turns 3 and 4. And I think you kind of heard it there. Those tires scrubbing, that is, I wouldn't say not what you want to hear at all, because of course you're going to have tire scrub, but the louder that noise is, the more you are using up tires. Guys, we're getting really loose here in practice though, so it will be a little interesting to see as we go into the long run later in this race after the 2 stage breaks. If guys start to get loose or tight, you would think with the speeds they're getting down into the corners with, that they'd really be burning off the right front, but we won't know until we get a long run, as we are going to be 3 laps away from the stage break here. Next lap, Kenneth Riedinger still in charge, Joey Hickok second, William McKellar third, Russ Kilgore fourth. Rounding out the top 5 is Paul Witt, Matthew Dyer 6th, Robert Duvendak 7th, 8th is Sam Boutwell, but now he's going to lose that position to Chris Akers. We saw this guy trying some strategy at Nashville. He was saving tires better than just about any of them. And he might be trying that same strategy here tonight. He's looking to get a little track position here. He will get himself some fresh tires and try to make up even more positions during stage 2. Sam Boutwell is 9th now, and Randy Bonomi, another Hickox Racing driver, currently battling the 14 Vicente Guerrero here. This is for that 10th spot. Looks like Vicente has the bottom. Ooh, the 89, Edward Smith. He thought about maybe trying to make it 3 wide, thought better of it. But that little bit of a mistake might cost him the inside here. John Bell, he's trying to sneak around. Now he takes it to the outside. And these guys, the longer you hang side by side here at Pocono, the easier it is for that truck behind you to get a run. And the 89 looks like he is maybe thinking 3 wide here again. Going to tuck in behind the 14. Can they finally get clear here in the tunnel turn? The backfire out of the pipe shows you just how much they're letting off. The 5 got to the inside, but he got a little bit loose. The 66, Randy Bonomi, escapes any danger for now. The 89 going back to the inside here, Vicente Guerrero. That inside apron can kind of be your friend. There's a little bit of a rumble strip, if you will, on it. And you can use that, really hug the bottom, take the shortest way around, but it kind of wants to get you a little bit more loose. You get a little bit more front grip than you do rear grip. The man that's got working on all cylinders right now, that I was about to say that has the most grip out of any of these guys, but he just seems to be fast week in and week out. That's Kenneth Riedinger still leading the way, and he continues to slowly stretch that gap out over Joey Hickox. Joey had a couple of rough weeks. He had a fast truck, just a couple of mistakes either on his part or on somebody else's part that he just got collected in. And he did a nice job here so far in stage one. He was able to hold off the charge from the 75 William McKellar. He picked himself up a couple of spots early. And if he can finish this thing off for what's going to be one more lap when he hits the line this time, then he will have himself a good entry position into the pits and hopefully a good starting position for stage two. Paul Witt got him to the outside wall. The 28, Russ Kilgore, is looking to go by. So is the 2 of Matthew Dyer, who's going to give him a little push. No, he's going to take him 3 wide, but now the 28 ducks back in line. That makes it back to 2 into turn 1. The 28 thought about diving low. Matthew Dyer really bursts the throttle. Here's a move from Paul Witt, trying to split the gap, go through the middle of both of these guys. Can he make it stick? Those the question. Looks like he's side by side. They are 3 wide down the short chute. And it looks like the 28 still trying to hang on to the outside. Paul Witt's not going to bail out. He just barely gets clear and slams the door on Paul Witt before they got to the turn. But further up, Kenneth Riedinger is working his way through the final, not set of corners, but just corner here at Pocono turn 3. You see him get down on that apron at a turn 4. The start-finish line a little bit on the earlier part of the front straightaway, and coming across it, Kenneth Riedinger wins stage 1 here at Pocono. Coming in second is going to be Joey Hickox. Third, William McKellar. Fourth, Russ Kilgore. Fifth, Paul Witt. Sixth, Robert Duvendak, Matthew Dyer. Seventh. Eighth is going to be Chris Akers. Ninth, Sam Boutwell. And rounding out the top 10 in stage 1 is going to be Randy Bonomi in the 66 truck. Robert Emerso says wreck them all. First stage complete. I'll tell you what, we are going to take a quick side-by-side break, and when we come back, we will have your stage 1 winner as long as he is in the Discord. If he's not, then we will talk to one of these guys up in your top 5. Stick with us. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. You are watching the Tricky Triangle 200 here on Ghost Racing Network. We just completed stage 1. Kenneth Riedinger, your winner. Unfortunately, we couldn't find Kenneth, so we're going to talk to the man, one of the biggest movers there of that last stage, and that is second place, Joey Hickox. Joey, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
I'm good, man. Well, you're looking pretty good out there so far. It seems like maybe been a little bit of a rough last few weeks, not quite as good as maybe you were hoping things would go, but so far tonight, it looks like you're showing a lot of speed. And how's the truck feeling?
Feels really good out in clean air. There was a bad mess up there on the start, so it really gave us some good track position here. So hopefully we'll take advantage of it. Good points on that stage. I'd really love to get as many points as I can tonight. Try to get the playoffs locked up for me.
Well, do you think there'll be any strategy play of anybody trying to maybe, I guess you'd maybe say flip the last stage? Do you think anybody's trying to pit early, or is everybody just going to run it out, take 4 tires, and run it green at the end?
Well, I don't know. I would like to run it out a little bit longer so you have the fresher tires towards the end, but I guess it kind of depends on how the caution flags fly. I know to make stage 2, we're going to have to save a little bit on fuel, so it'd be interesting to see the strategy on this stage. But Other than that, I mean, so far it's been a pretty clean race, and just hope it stays that way for us.
Hopefully. Well, it looks like you are going to be starting on that front row here for stage 2. Good luck.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And Joey Hickox told me something that I didn't realize here. These guys are on 70% fuel. We do know that. What we did not know was that it was going to be as close as it is here on fuel for stage 2. And with a little bit of fuel saving going on here, it's going to be interesting. Remember, you can't really save fuel on the straightaways here. They're too long, they're too fast. But down in the corners, when you really slow up, I think actually, maybe let me retract that last statement. The best place, I think, to save fuel here at Pocono is going to be at the end of that front straightaway down into turn 1. We'll have to see how they do it, when they do it. And, I mean, does anybody choose to go back in and maybe top off here? I think that could maybe help some of these guys, but it'll be an interesting choice to see if they do it. Right now, though, Kenneth Riedinger is still looking like the fastest of all of them. Some of the guys that did work up here, such as Joey, had to burn off a little bit more tire than Kenneth did because they had to work their way up here. So it'll be a little interesting to see if they can maybe see if they got anything for that 24 truck now. We should be getting the want to go signal this time. That means we will be going back green, hopefully. 31 looks as the 24 is surely not going to choose the outside here. Just going to say, I don't think the outside's going to be the place you'd want to be, but Kenneth knows more, and sure enough, there he goes back down to the bottom. We do have a truck further back. Looks like they are catching the field. Let's take a look back at some of these guys. I'll tell you what, Justin Parham went a lap down, and he might be getting that back now. Guy Braco is in 22nd, currently being scored as the last truck on the lead lap. Buzz Yater, Jeff Carl all back outside the top 20. Matthew Fritz, he is back on pit road topping off, and I like that strategy call from the 48. We'll see how it works out for him, though. We are going to go green on lap 20 of 80 completed, so we are already a quarter of the way through this race. Seems like it is starting to go by a little bit quicker now as these guys have been keeping it clean and green, which is what we like to see. They tried a short track earlier in the year, didn't work out as well. And you maybe had some guys question the racing of NOMA. Well, not tonight and not the last couple weeks. We have seen these guys deliver on some of these tracks. We've seen a couple messes here and there, but overall the racing continues to be great. The 24 has that little bit of weird looking shininess on the front left of his truck. I cannot tell you what that is. It's a little odd looking nonetheless, but stage 2 is going to be on 38, so caution will fly on the start of 39. So that is going to be just about 20 laps from now, and that's a pretty long ways to go on fuel, as Joey was saying. I think they'll be okay on tire, especially if they have to save a little bit of fuel. They won't be running the tire quite as hard. But the restarts are the craziest part about the race here at Pocono, and we are about to see our second one of the night. We're going to be guaranteed one more with that scheduled caution, but after that we will have to see. And it should be, you got to think, a little bit of strategy, potentially a one-stopper in that third stage if they can somehow make it 20 and 20. But before we get to that, we got business to take care of here. Pace truck pulls off Kenneth Riedinger into the Geico restart zone, and we are back green at Pocono. Another really good jump here from the 24. He's not going to have to worry about fending anybody off here down into turn 1. Taking a look further back, nobody fanning out, at least not quite as much as they were the first time, and they're all going to get it sorted out before they get down here into turn 1. Couple battles further back. We got side-by-side action between Sam Boutwell, Randy Bonomi. Further up, oh, the 4 Chris Akers got really loose. He had to get out of the throttle, and that is going to cost him a whole bunch of time as they are going around him 3 wide. Paul Witts trying to creep by as well. Chris Akers going to have to give up that position. Robert Duvendak trying to go to the inside here of William McKellar, and it looks like he is going to make it work. Wow, the fact that they stayed side by side through the tunnel turn. William McKellar on the outside was able to keep that position for now, but Robert Duvendak is not going to give it up that easy. Further back, the 89 try to go on the apron to get around John Bell. Here comes the 1. That's Mark Jackson. DJ Maddish behind him. And this is probably one of the best views of it you'll get right here. Everybody comes roaring by you here at over 165 miles an hour. In the back of the field, you can see them still racing, but up front, they have single filed out nicely. Kenneth Riedinger already has that gap up to about half a second. Joey Hickox trying to hold off Russ Kilgore for a second. Matthew Dyer is trying to creep in on this battle as well. And there's Kenneth Riedinger, continues to break the draft, and he likes what he sees in his mirror. The more these guys race, the harder it is going to be for them to catch him. The 28 now looks to the inside of Joey Hickox. We'll see, does Joey give the position away? Oh, the 28 really slid the 31 up the track. 3 wide now is the 2 Matthew Dyer on the bottom. Both guys able to hold on to it. You saw the 28 get out of the throttle, got in there. Man, that tunnel turn is just so tight. You think you have enough speed to make it through it, but if you just miss your line by an inch, that truck is going straight up the track. This does bottle everybody back here up a little bit as they are 2x2 down the front stretch. Looks like Joey, out of all of it, though, is going to maintain his position in that second spot. Back down into turn 1 again. The 2 Matthew Dyer continues to roll the bottom. The 75 William McKellar looks like he got a little bit tight. Russ Kilgore's going to try to get under him again. He's not going to be able to do it right there. 2x2. Some of the Reese's trucks making some advancements now. And if we had a Reese's sweet move of the race, it'd be a little bit hard to tell who got it. The tunnel turn seems to be where these guys are having the most trouble so far. Turns 1 and 2, they all seem to be able to manage. Same with 3. Or sorry, excuse me, turn 1, but turn 2, they just cannot seem to really make it work. They've tried 2 out a couple times. They're realizing it's not working too well. Even single file, if the guy behind you gets a better entry, he can catch over a couple tenths on you. And up front, Kenneth Riedinger has the gap stretched out now to over a 1.5 seconds. This is a much different story from what we saw in stage 1, at least so far, where he was, for the longest time, not quite able to get these guys to a second gap. But part of that reason is because we just saw all the racing that went on, and that really cost Joey Hickox, Matthew Dyer, and Russ Kilgore a lot of time. Sam Boutwell is having a good run so far tonight. That is another one of the independent drivers for the NOMA Truck Series. He currently sits in the 5th position, up 4 from where he started. William McKellar in 6th, down 5 from where he started. He looked really good on the restart in stage 1. I'm not sure if this is part of that fuel-saving strategy or if he is struggling right now. But the 75 truck is down 5 spots in total from where he started. Robert Duvendak sitting in 7th. Paul Witt 8th. Randy Bonomi 9th. Chris Akers 10th. And we kind of expect this from Chris, the driver out of Hillsville, Virginia. He is just saving some tire, maybe saving some fuel as well. In fact, let's ride on board with him here real quick. And it doesn't sound like he's saving as much fuel as you would maybe think. If guys really want to save, they are going to roll the bottom of turn 1 as long as they possibly can. Moving back here to Edward Smith, currently in 11th. John Bell 12th. Mark Jackson 13th. Robert Jordan 14th. DJ Madish 15th. Vicente Guerrero 16th. Matthew Fritz 17th. Moving back to 18th. James Scamordella 19th. Albert Hewins, Guy Braco 20th. 21st, Jeff Call, and the couple rounding out the field is going to be Fudge Yater and Justin Parham. Justin, gotta think maybe this is something with the struggles he was having earlier. We saw him running around mid-pack, maybe a little bit farther up, but he's sitting back here right now. Looks like he's struggling a little bit. He is a lap down, unfortunately, so not sure exactly what happened to Justin. Oh, that looks like actually maybe to get some insight on what happened here. We're going to go take a look. This seems to have been a little while ago. This was under the last green flag run, so this was last stage. Let's see if we can figure out if I missed anything here. Oh, wow. And you see he was already in the grass in this view. It looked like he'd almost... Oh, wow. And sure enough, he blinked out. And then when he comes back on track here, he's just in the grass. Look at this. This is a little bizarre. Certainly not the way you're used to seeing it. We got to get back to TV1 here to try to find it. There it is. Oh, and he's got damage. Oh, my goodness. And it just totaled that truck. So whatever he did destroyed the 19. So he certainly had to use his fast spare on that incident. And that is one that I'd be curious to figure out if we can later on what happened. Kenneth Riedinger does have the gap up to 2.2 seconds further back. I saw almost 3 wide. Now it is 3 wide. Going into turn 1, the 75 William McKellar still trying to prevail on the outside, and maybe that little bit of tire saving of what I thought was just the 75 struggling is going to start to pay off, as he is now going to set his sights on the 47 of Sam Boutwell. We are 26 of the 80 through so far here tonight, and we still have 13 laps to go here in stage 2. Guys, going to be close on fuel. The tires are certainly going to be hurt at the end. But we do expect that most of them, if not all of them, should be able to make it. There's Chris Akers running that line where he is going to use all of the rumble strip up, runs a little high off the turn. Tries to get a big draft off Randy Bonomi here down the front stretch. I'm not exactly sure where these guys head next in the season. We try to get it for you, but with no short tracks on the schedule, I mean, if you got to assume that some of the mile and a halves that might be coming up, some of these guys are getting prepared for it here. Pocono, not really like any of the other tracks. It has some of the super speedway characteristics. It has some of the mile and a half characteristics. Not really any short track characteristics, but with every turn being so different from the one before, it's not really one of those rhythm tracks that we're used to seeing. You just have to know how to hit each turn specifically, but some of the other tracks, you kind of get in a rhythm. You can kind of stop thinking. You're just kind of driving. Not the case here at Pocono. These guys have to be on their A game throughout this entire race, and 80 laps is a long way. Over 200 miles, actually exactly 200 miles here at the Tricky Triangle. And 28 Russ Kilgore is getting back up to the bumper, trying to get around Joey Hickox. Sam Boutwell just tagged the wall pretty hard. You saw it off of turn 4 right there, and he does have some damage down the 47. We will have to see just how bad that's going to affect him. We have seen some guys getting into that wall off turn 4. It comes up a lot quicker than you would think. Bit abrupt, and he is going to... I don't think it's bad enough. He should not have to use a fast repair on it, but he is certainly going to want to be able to get down the pit road so he can work on repairs for it. Next week is going to be an off week for the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays. After that, we do head to the big, bad, fast Michigan. I think I referred to Talladega as that too, but Michigan is basically going to be Talladega, but they are going to have to let off throughout the turns. Big sweeping turns. We are going to see a lot of 3 and 4 wide action there as well. I thought we'd see a little bit more of that here tonight. Restarts was the best opportunity, and I mean, we have just maybe not quite in the degree that I was expecting. After Michigan, it's the special event for the year. That is the All-Star Race at Charlotte, the NOMA Truck Series. It's going to have a special format. We will have more on that as we get closer. Then they head to Auto Club, then Legacy Atlanta, so not the new one. So it is not going to be like a restrictor plate race, but rather still going to be probably the track that shreds the tires the most out of any of the tracks that we are going to go to. These guys did go to Indy. That was pretty brutal on the tires, but I think Atlanta still might be a little bit worse with how old the pavement on it is. The 24 Kenneth Riedinger with the gap almost up to 3 seconds over second place Joey Hickox for Hickox Racing. And this is the battle right now for second. First is pulled away, but the 28 and the 2, that is Russ Kilgore and Matthew Dyer. They continue to wait for an opportunity to pounce here on Joey Hickox. Joey trying to be perfect while also trying to watch his mirror. One of the hardest things to do as a driver. Seems like you can run so much faster if there's not a truck on your bumper versus when there is. At least for most guys, because it just takes the pressure off you. You're afraid you're going to blow a turn. You think that guy's maybe going to try to dive bomb you, so you're trying to get in the turn a little bit harder than you know you normally would. And the 28 right now is making sure he does all that, putting all the pressure on the 31. But you see he got a little too close right there. Maybe got a little bit in that dirty air, washed up the track, and Matthew Dyer is going to try to take advantage. Robert Duvendak looked like he was going to go with him, but he quickly jumps back in line. Looking from the rear chase cam. Actually, let's go to the cockpit through the tunnel turn here. Oh, caution is out. And this is for Robert Jordan further back. Looks like he has had an incident. Ooh, there he is. On the straightaway between turn 1 and 2, the tunnel turn, he has made, looks like, relatively significant contact, at least with the left side of that truck. And not sure what happened here. He was running towards the back of the pack. This does bring out our first non-scheduled caution of the night. Here he is, 3 wide with Justin Parham. And it looks like sneaking in the bottom there, that was the 79 of James Gamordella. And let's see if he's just going to get a little bit loose right here. Oh, the 79 kind of gets on the apron. Oh, the 74 was coming down, though, it looked like from that view at least. We'll take a couple more shots at it. He already had a little bit of damage on his right side. It tells me he may have been struggling, gotten in the wall a little bit. 79 does make some significant contact. And then, oh, he did get turned as well. The 79, James Scaramordella, gets in the wall pretty hard. 74 avoids contact with the inside wall. And then makes a little bit right there as he gets that thing back rolling. Let's take a couple different views of it. The first view from the rear chase is I believe he may have just kind of been coming down the track. So I want you to watch his line here. You see right now how he is kind of in between these two seams. He's got a seam on the bottom and a seam above him. And watch this truck. It's going to kind of start to drift down. He did have Justin Parham on at the top. The 79 looks like he's making pretty good grip at this point. He is now under him. 79 is going to get on the apron. He's trying to give him room, and it looks like the 74 does just kind of come down. I mean, not really much else to it. Some contact, and then they go back up into the wall. Give you one more view of this, and we will take a look actually from on board this time. See if this gives us any better insight. Man, the 79 was trying to sneak by after the initial contact. Unfortunately, he was not going to be able to, it looked like. He did kind of T-bone once they made contact, I guess, if you will. T-bone the side. The damage either way really didn't look all that bad if you consider all the factors of it for either of those two. They are going to pit. The 79 almost looks like he got the worst of it, as he did tag the 74 and tag the outside wall. He may have to use his fast spare here. Pocono is a pretty aero-dependent track, so you do not want to have a lot of damage if you want to run competitively. And the 74 will be interesting to see if he uses his fast spare here, if he just looks like he is going to keep it to optional. I think I like that choice. On the other hand, James is going to use that fast spare, take 4 tires and fuel, and be back out to go. This is going to mix up the strategy a little bit, you would think. I was wondering if maybe some guys would go into pit, some guys would maybe stay out. And it looks like we really didn't have... Do we have too many of them pit? Actually, it looks like yes, most of them did go ahead and go down the pits here. And that is just guys taking tires. They know how important they are, and they want to make sure they have them if they indeed need them. Everybody does have plenty of sets of tires. In fact, I believe it was indeed 5 when we talked about your race info. So you can definitely afford to burn one now. With the way the race is gone for the most part, you got to think that there may not be a lot of cautions later on in the going. I mean, that caution there was almost what you call kind of a random caution, just a little bit of a mistake by somebody, but not something that seems to be an error being made all the way around the track with all these drivers that you think is going to happen more consistently. But let's talk about what your front row is looking like here for this restart. It is going to be Kenneth Riedinger and Joey Hickox again. Joey did not get the best restart last time, and once he got a little bit back, they started really getting to racing, and they lost sight of the 24 in a hurry, so they might try to sort it out a little better this time. Paul Witt in the 429 is going to be starting 3rd, 4th, Edward Smith, and rounding out the top 5 on this restart is going to be John Bell in the 5 truck. John is one of the biggest movers right now. Him and Edward Smith both up 6 and 9 spots respectively. Paul Witt, also to note, is up 7 spots from where he started. Taking a look at your manufacturers in the field, it is Chevys, Toyotas, and Fords. Actually a pretty good mix here. A lot of the series head to it seems like it's mostly Chevys. Not the case tonight, but if you are just tuning in, we certainly appreciate you being here. You are watching the Tricky Triangle 200 here at Pocono Raceway for the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays. There's the 74 getting back out on track, and doesn't look like he was quite able to beat the pace truck, so that is going to put him a lap down, you have to assume, unless he gets by here, and that would make Robert Jordan the only truck a lap down. So if he can hang out here for what is going to be, looks like a 5-lap shootout once we go green this time. Remember, competition caution is going to fall on the start of 39, so it ends on lap 38. Not competition caution, stage caution rather, excuse me, for stage 2. And there's Matthew Fritz in the 48. He is up here. Tried a little bit of a strategy play there. We saw him top off, and he is up 12 positions in the Manny Rays 48 machine. Looks like Anton Farr says, great racing coverage like always. Well, we certainly appreciate it. I'll tell you what, Pocono has been tricky tonight. It's kind of weird, but it almost seems like kind of how you're out on track, you can kind of tell when a broadcast feels like it's going really good or not. It's just not felt like one of the top ones tonight, but I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and we certainly like trying to put on the best we can for you here tonight. The racing, nonetheless, has been really good so far. Justin Parham would like to get up there with his teammate Kenneth Riedinger, and hopefully his internet has sorted itself out, but he still has a lot of work starting back in 22nd right now. As Raymond Daniels says, the Manny Rays Mafia is watching tonight. Of course, the main sponsor for the league. Glad to see him out here. Here we go. Pace truck back off. Can Joey Hickox get a better restart? Are they going to fan out this time? We're about to find out. Green flag back in the air. 24, just a slight bit of damage there on the rear end. I just noticed that as they went green, but he gets another good jump nonetheless. These guys trying to fan out again. You see him going 3 wide further back. No 4. We actually, never mind, I take that back. We did see 4 way back in the back. Let's take a look to make sure they get it sorted out. Still 4 wide, almost some contact there. Still trying to make sense of it. And it looks like the one is going to get the bad end of the stick. Mark Jackson had to bail out for just about everybody there to not make any contact, and he is going to fall all the way to the back of the field now. The 66, Randy Bonomi, he's going to see if he can get by James Scamordella right here, but man, that got really close. The 69's getting a little tight here as well. These guys continue to get more and more aggressive each restart that we have. Chris Akers looked like he got a little bit of damage in the left door from some contact that must have took place there, at least into turn one, you have to assume. Matthew Dyer looks like a rocket ship right now. Russ Kilgore says, I'm going with you, bud. He jumps down low as they're trying to make it work. The high side seems to be a little faster because they get the momentum off of turn 3 down the front stretch. But into turn 1, if you're on that low line, you can kind of push your weight around, force the guy on your outside up if they don't get tight by themselves, which just happened right there to Albert Hewins. These two are now going to try to get by the 25 of DJ Madish. It looks like the 28, Russ Kilgore, is actually going to try to get a 2-for-1 here. He stays high on the 25, and he's going to see if he can get around the 2 of Matthew Dyer. The gap up front this time is a lot closer. We got a battle for the lead. Joey Hickox, he is trying to get to the quarter panel of Kenneth Riedinger. He had to get out of it a little bit right there. Now he's falling back. Paul Witt gives him a little bumper. These guys don't have to save anymore, and now they know that they have a pit stop coming up, so this is really good chance to just put it all out there. Use your tires up while you got them. Kenneth Riedinger's trying to break the draft. Look at Joey Hickox follow. And this next camera view is going to give you the best angle of it. Look at these guys snaking around here down the front stretch. There you go. All the way down to the bottom, all the way back up top. And the gap that Joey closed down there on the front stretch was almost 3/10. He tries the outside, gets a little bit of dirty air off the 24, but he's not going to give up. Oh, Kenneth Riedinger almost got into the wall. Joey Hickox, he's going to have another run this time. Joey continues to ride high. He really could have used a push there from Paul Witt. Doesn't take it, though, into the tunnel turn. The 24, Kenneth Riedinger still leading. It is going to be 2 laps to go once we cross the line this time. Kenneth Riedinger seems to be better than these guys through the tunnel turn, but they seem to be beating him, at least as of right now on that last lap, through turns 1 and turns 3. And we will pull up the lap time here off turn 4. Watch, they're going to break this draft again. Taking a look from the blip cam. That'll give you a good shot of it. Kenneth Riedinger going as low as he can. Joey Hickox follows, so does Paul Witt. And they really close that gap up. It looks like your leader, though, ran a 55.9 that last lap. Boy, that is flying. 56 a lap before that. Compare that to second place, Joey Hickox, a 56 flat and a 56.2. So their lap times are just about averaging out, at least similar. You see it there. Joey's one lap was a little bit slower, and Joey's last lap was a little bit faster. Sorry, vice versa. But Kenneth Riedinger is starting to get a little more comfortable now that he has a little bit of breathing room. That gap only sitting at about 3/10 though still. He's got to be careful. Paul Witt looks like he wants Joey Hickox to get up there to make a move, but when we're coming to what's going to be the white flag lap for stage 2 this time, he might have to think about making that move himself. And they have really fallen off here in turn 3. The gap just through that one turn stretched out about 4/10 a second now, up to half a second. The white flag is in the air for stage 2. Paul Witt does have a little damage on the right rear. How about the run here late in the going for the 89 of Edward Smith? Is he going to try to make a dive bomb here on the 429? He's going to try it, but it's not going to work out. In fact, Russ Kilgore is going to try to work that outside, and it is going to work out. Lap truck way ahead. Doesn't look like it's going to be an issue for any of these guys, and I believe that is Justin Parham. Boy, he is still struggling back here, and he's just got to try to stay in front of the field here so he won't go a lap down till the end of the stage, which is in just about half a lap as they work through the tunnel turn. Joey Hickox not looking like he's gonna be able to close the gap in time. Russ Kilgore, meanwhile, still fighting for positions. He's gonna try to go around Paul Witt. Ooh, Paul Witt is pinching him down, not gonna give him any room to work with. But the 28 truck is gonna get that position off turn 4 though. Stage 2 winner goes to Kenneth Riedinger in the 24. Oh, further back, we got a truck that's destroyed. That's Fudge Yater. He pulls it down pit road. What happened here? Damage to a couple of these guys. And not Fudge Yater that was destroyed. Who was destroyed? Somebody was absolutely totaled right there. It was Randy Bonomi in the 66. Man, that thing is killed. The front end, the side, the back. I'm not sure what he hit, but it looks like he got hit by a semi-truck. Let's go take a look at this. Oh, he's already out of shape here. So this must have happened earlier, and this was the last lap of the stage 2, so These guys are probably a little bit more upset. Did he already get to the wall, or does he just get loose? Ooh. Wow, he's already got a lot of damage here. Man. Oh, so this is going to happen going into the final turn. Let's see what goes on here. This is the 5 of John Bell. Let's play it in full speed first. Here we go. Wow, and just the 66 got in there a lot harder. And maybe he wasn't ready for how much the 5 was checking up. He's trying to save it. Oh, man. He got clobbered there by DJ Madish. Back up into that outside safer barrier. And that finished that thing off. We got to get a couple more shots. That was really odd looking. Let's go to TV1 here. See if we can get a little bit of a better shot. Watch the closing distance he puts on John. So I'm thinking initially here, John Bell's maybe going to try to sneak in line behind the 48. You know, the 66 was trying to... Oh, that looks like sure enough what happened. Randy Bonomi had already committed. Almost holds on to it right here, but he's not quite able to. And then DJ Madish tags him pretty hard. That 25, you got to think, is going to have gotten some damage from it. Let's take a look. Did he? Sure enough. Oh, yeah, the 25's front end. It's pretty banged up. Take one more view of this here. Randy Bonomi's cockpit. And you got to think, he just wasn't really expecting the 5 here, and that's what it looked like. Yeah, man, just... It's kind of weird because the damage from the hit makes it look a lot worse. It didn't look like he was that much faster. But man, when he hit him, it just destroyed this thing. Sent him spinning around and ultimately into this outside wall here. As the onrushing DJ Madish just had nowhere to go. He almost snuck by but couldn't quite do it. Looks like everyone else was able to get by. We did have one go in the grass. That looks like it might have been the 74 of Robert Jordan. Sure enough, it was. That's going to give us some pretty big damage to the back end of John Bell. However, the front end should be good to go. And I was going to say, you got to wonder, maybe does that work out for Randy Bonomi because he is currently the leader, but don't think that is going to stay the case for long. We'll have to see. But right now, it's shown Kenneth Riedinger winning the race off pit road. He is lined up second at the moment. Third, Sam Boutwell. Fourth, Joey Hickox. Fifth, Paul Witt. And I was looking to see, I want to go talk to one of these guys. I'm not sure exactly who I'd like to talk to, though, just yet. See if one of these guys that we haven't... Tell you what, William McKellar, he's had an up and down day. So why don't we go see if we can pull a quick word with him. See if we can dial him up here real quick. Give me just a second. Hey, William McKellar, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Austin.
All right, well, it seems like you've kind of had an up and down day. You looked really fast there in stage 1. Looking pretty fast here in stage 2. A little bit of struggles early, but right before we get to the restart here, what's the game plan for the rest of this race?
The game plan is just to be better than Kenneth Riedinger. Seem to be struggling with that a little bit, but confidence is not something I'm lacking for, so I think I can get up there and pass him.
Well, I mean, I got good news on that. You are not the only one in that boat. I think the rest of the field is. But I know we're going to see at least one pit stop. Do you think you can make it on that one pit stop, or are we going to have to see another one?
No, this is definitely one stop. We got 20 laps of fuel. It's a 39-lap run. I think we can go ahead, and it gives us a nice, decent fuel window to pit in. I think we can make it.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we can see you in victory lane tonight.
Yes, sir.
We will slide him back down to his team, Team Max Speed TV, one of the Max Speed TV drivers. And boy, when it comes to super speedways, that is one of the most dangerous teams at it. But Kenneth Riedinger, him and his teammate have kind of been the class of the field for a lot of races, and he has shown again tonight. I mean, you heard the way William put it there. The game plan is just to be faster than the 24 truck. The whole field's trying that same thing. This could potentially be the final restart. And these guys are going to get everything they can. Green flag back out. The 24 gets another good jump. Sam Boutwell this time looks like maybe hangs a little closer than some of these guys have. Joey Hickox on the bottom. He also gets a really good restart. They are already fanning out. A little bit calmer on this one than what we saw in the last one. Joey Hickox going to try to get clear here down into turn 1 of Sam Boutwell. 47 is going to try to make it stick. Oh, Joey Hickox had to bail out of it. And that is a bad position that the 31 puts himself in. Now he's going to have to pinch. Oh, we got contact further back. Saw one truck getting a little out of shape. I'm not sure if they hit anything. So the camera angles here are definitely not the most favorable, but somebody made contact with something, or at least they got sideways. Oh, we got another one up in the wall here. That's Fudge Yater. Oh, big contact. Oh, another hard hit. Randy Bonomi. Oh, my goodness. Huge, huge shot. Caution back out. And I saw somebody else hit the wall there. Couldn't even tell who it was, but that is going to destroy Randy Bonomi. Fudge Yater, he is done as well. Robert Jordan. What happened? This almost looked like it started back. I mean, there's the big hit, but I want to back this up even more to see if we can maybe find out what happens here in turn 1. So let's do that, as it looks like Nancy says in the chat, different camera angles are great. You're working hard to keep us entertained. Well, I do appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you. So Robert Jordan way back, so he's not even initially in this. We're looking for what is going to be the initial thing going here, and I do apologize if you guys can hear. I am in college, so I do have a roommate, and he is raging his mind out right now, so I apologize for that if you can hear it a little bit. If it's too loud, let me know, and I will make sure I go settle it. And I'm trying to, there you go, the 69 further up. Let's go to that. That's Guy Braco. That was the one that we initially saw get loose. And let's see if he gets tagged here. Took a minute to find, but we have found it. The 66, Randy Bonomi, down low, and no, looks like he just gets loose by himself, at least in that view. Heck of a save. Holds on to it even over that bump. But then this is where things are going to start to get sketchy here, as I believe it was the 84 of Fudge Yater here. Gets, he tried to make a move, and you see he was kind of straight. He didn't have that arc into the tunnel turn. Gets up into the wall, and coming off the wall there, gets into the rest of these guys. Big, big contact for some of these guys. And that did mainly collect 3 trucks. A couple more views of it. This was that initial angle. And once he gets up in the wall, he's trying to get off of it. Maybe just steers a little too much off of it right here. Comes down. There's a shot. Oh, man, the 74, the 66. Randy Bonomi, huge hit. Nowhere to go. Take one more view here. This is after the 74 has already made that contact. Oh, man, just nowhere to go. Oh, that is a huge... Wow. Who was that? Somebody hit so hard. They actually... I think that was the 6... Yeah, this is Guy Braco. So he hits the wall so hard right here. It launched him out of the track. The game just sent him immediately to pit road. My goodness. So a wild ride for a handful of drivers just about, and it ends the night for at least a couple of them. Up front, Kenneth Riedinger is still your leader. No change there. Sam Boutwell second. Paul Witt third. Joey Hickox is back to fourth. Matthew Dyer rounding up the top 5. Russ Kilgore sixth. William McKellar 7th. 8th. Chris Akers 9th. John Bell and 10th. James Scamordella. So this isn't really going to change up the strategy for any of these guys. At least not too much. Of course, it will still be that one pit stop. However, they're going to be a little bit more comfortable on fuel now. So this could change up the idea of, do you pit as soon as that fuel window opens at this point? Or do you maybe try to run it a little longer? We did hear Joey say he wants those fresh tires to be able to use them. And I guess I would imply with that, he means he would rather go later so that when he does take the fresh tires, he can really use them. We'll see what happens. We should be getting that one to go signal next time, but we still see some of those guys in that wreck on pit road. Fudge Yater, the good news is he's got that thing cleaned up. He had a fast pair. The bad news is he is no longer on the lead lap. Randy Bonomi, his night looks like it might be over. He already used a fast pair in the last incident. Robert Jordan, I believe he has used his fast pair just now. He's got that 74 cleaned up. Guy Braco in 20th, up 2 spots from where he started in the 69. It looks like he also got that thing fixed. And, I mean, we couldn't even tell how much damage he really had because the game sent him to pit road immediately. The 98, Jeff Carl, he's got a little bit of damage on the right rear and on the right side, just a little bit there. The 48, Matthew Fritz for Hickox Racing, seeing if he can make his way to the front later in the going. Sure enough, the pace truck lights are off. That means we are going to be going green this time. We are over halfway through this race. If you are still sticking with us, we appreciate you spending your time here on a Saturday night watching Ghost Racing Network, watching the NOMA Truck Series, rather, presented by Manny Rays. These guys are going at it. Remember, next week is an off week, so there will be no race, at least not here on Ghost Racing Network. I guess if these guys wanted to have fun, they could go do one anyway. But a good break. When we come back, hopefully you might see a couple guys come back. Sometimes some of these guys just wanted to take a couple week break. Some of them might be on vacation. Not sure, but we're going to have a good stretch of races once we do come back, starting with Michigan, which that one does even the playing field for a lot of these guys. It is just about wide open, at least in the early running. So we may see someone else besides Kenneth Riedinger at least try to put some fight to him. And if we get a late caution, we saw on that late restart in stage 2, I think some of these guys do have something for the 24 truck. On the short run, I think the struggles are coming in on the long run. But as of right now, it would end in the long run. So we'll see. Of course, fixed setups. Nobody can make adjustments. So that is just simply Kenneth Riedinger just that much faster behind the wheel as we are riding. On the left front here of William McKellar, 75. He is going to be starting in that fourth row. He's got Matthew Dyer in front of him. You see Joey Hickox up there as well in the third row on the outside. Second row. Getting it all mixed up. Here we go. Pace truck pulls off back to the Geico restart zone. The 24, can he get another good restart? Paul Witt this time tries something different. Ooh, Kenneth Riedinger tried to check him up. It didn't work out. The 47, Sam Boutwell gets a good jump. We might see a new leader here. This really stacked things up. We are not used to seeing this into turn 1. The 47, he's trying to get clear. He's not going to be able to, though. Paul Witt gives the 24 a big push. And they are side by side. Kenneth Riedinger, he is going to try to get clear the 47. He is going to be able to do it. Paul Witt to the bottom, still sticking the inside. These guys did not quite play nice, or as nice as they've been on that restart. Kenneth Riedinger trying to break the draft off the 47. Joey Hickox gives them a run. They're going to go single file for those first 2 spots into the tunnel turn. You saw Kenneth Riedinger. He realized the 429 was trying to read his restart. He tried to go late. The 429 said, nah, I'm going, man. You are going to have to go. Gave him a couple shots, but either way, the 24 still finds a way to get out in front. Down the front stretch here. Looking like, oh, Russ Kilgore almost got into the back there of Joey Hickox as he is trying to take away that position, that 4th position. The battle for 4th. Further back, those guys still 2x2 have not sorted it out just yet. And on the bottom here, it looks like the 14 Vicente Guerrero is trying to get by the 48 of Matthew Fritz. That is the 74 Robert Jordan with a clean truck. And I think he played a good strategy by not taking his fast break, even when he did have a little bit of damage. Further up, John Bell and Edward Smith on the bottom trying to get by DJ Madish. And it looks like John was able to complete it. Edward not quite going to be able to do the same. He's got to be careful here, getting a little tight off the tunnel turn. Up front, the gap now back up to a 2nd so far. The 24, Kenneth Riedinger. He's starting to do that thing where he pulls away from the rest of the field and they can't really do much about it. Looks like he is still working to break the draft, showing you from pit lane 2 here, or pit lane 1, excuse me. These guys come flying by. Looking at the dashboard, that's the speed 178, almost 180 miles an hour down into turn 1, and then an abrupt stop just about as they get down. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing here, Kenneth Riedinger. Looks like his speeds, actually he ran a different line. He didn't get down into the low 140s until exit. For the rest of the field, we've been seeing guys get down into the 140s a lot earlier, so he may be taking a more aggressive entry than the rest of the field into that first turn. 79, James Scamordella, he is trying to go by the 1 of Mark Jackson. He does complete that pass out of the tunnel turn. And everybody's going to stay nice and calm. And we know at the super speedways, pit stops are key, but at these tracks, it's the same way. It's just trying to maintain the track position that you have until those pit stops. So we have a pretty aggressive battle here for 3rd position now all of a sudden. The 429, Paul Witt, now it's going to be for 2nd. These guys, you could throw them all under a blanket just about. We got a handful plus a couple more. Ooh, the 28 Russ Kilgore getting a little tight on Sam Boutwell. He's got to be careful there. 3 wide William McKellar, a beautiful move to the bottom. It's going to take advantage. The 2 for 1. The 2 Matthew Dyer falls back. He's trying to hang on the inside. He doesn't have any draft though. And remember, the closer you get to that truck in front of you on the straightaways, the more draft, the quicker you're going to pull up. However, the closer you get in the turns, the less you're going to turn because you do not have as much front downforce on the front of that truck. It looked like Paul Witt may have just scraped the wall a little bit. Not Paul Witt, excuse me. I believe it was Sam Boutwell, actually. 2 kind of have the same colored trucks, but looks like he doesn't have any damage, so he should be just fine. Kenneth Riddinger already has the gap up to 2 seconds, and at this point, you got to start to think the rest of the field is going to maybe need a caution if they ever want another chance at him. We do have 19 trucks still on the lead lap. 3 trucks are a lap down. Robert Jordan, Fuzz Yater, and Guy Braco. And Randy Bonomi is the only truck currently out of the race, and we did see him involved in 2 incidents, which did overall end his night. 30 laps to go here at Pocono. Well, 30, I guess, when we cross the line next time. But it is starting to slowly wind down to the end of this thing. It's not really going to feel like the final race is on, though, until we have that pits. Oh, we got one in the wall further back. Hold on just a second. And no caution. Do they all keep it together? We had a couple on the apron. DJ Madish is slow. More contact further ahead in the wall. And now the caution flies. Ooh, the 84 is still on the wall. He's going to finally make his way off of it. That is Fuzz Yater. 5th caution of the night. It's going to change things up even more here. And thankfully, I don't think this one really collected too many guys. Oh, DJ Madish all out of whack right here. But this started further up, I believe. Or did it start with DJ here? No, this does start further up. Looks like it's a couple things here. Actually, that is the 79 of James Scamordello. We've seen him involved in a couple things tonight, but he may not have been the actual wreck. It doesn't look like it here. But you see the 47 of Sam Boutwell. They both are just going to get a little bit. Is it too hot into the corner? Ooh. Oh, no, there is contact, ladies and gentlemen. The 47 gets into the back. Wasn't trying to. You see he's locked up now. And that does send the 79 into that outside wall. Pretty hard tank slapper to the right side. 47 also getting into the wall. But further back is where we're going to see, yeah, more spinners. The 89 sideways. That's Edward Smith. He gets into DJ Madish. And I believe that is what ended up drawing the caution. DJ's trying to hold on to this thing. Does he somehow save it? No way. What a save from the 25. He may have made slight contact, but overall not too bad. And then if we zoom out here, we saw the 84. Actually, let's go to the blimp cam. We saw the 84 get back into the wall. You see all these guys stacking up now. Looks like they went by, but there's the 84 into the wall. That's Fudge Yater up ahead. That issue that initially started got sorted out, but the slowing up from that initial incident, excuse me, seemed to be what brought it out. DJ Madish. What a save. Watch this. So you see the slight contact there that he makes with the 89. Couldn't quite check up in time, but how he misses the inside wall is beyond me. Let's take a ride on board with him for it. Some of the things these guys do, and I mean, this is an art, and I'll break it down for you after we watch it. You see, he sees it, doesn't realize how quick they're checking up, gets into the 89. But right there, you hear how he had the brakes locked up when he was sideways. If he doesn't lock the brakes up, there's a good chance that he rolls back up onto the track. He's got to lock it down, so it just turns into a sliding thing where he just has to control the front. Man, those are some quick hands and fast reaction time. Nicely done by the driver of the 25 truck. Going back live up front, your current leader is the man that's been out front the entire night. Nobody has really managed to lead a lap except for Kenneth Riedinger. He currently sits in the, not in the pits, excuse me. He currently sits in first. Second is going to be Paul Witt. Third, Joey Hickox. Fourth, William McKellar. Fifth, Chris Akers. And sixth, Matthew Fritz. And now is where we could see a little bit of strategy play. The good news here is these guys are going to be able to burn one of their sets of tires a little bit more aggressive than it was going to be. So we might see a little bit harder racing from the guys second on back than what we were seeing last time. I think knowing they didn't really have much for Kenneth, they were kind of trying to just make sure they saved their stuff. But it's only going to be here. Remember, 20 laps of fuel is what we heard from William McKellar. And that, from when we go green, is going to probably only be about 7 laps away from when the fuel window will open. Now, I don't think that most of these guys will necessarily go in right away. I guess it depends on what strategy you want to take. But I feel like I like the idea of maybe splitting this in half at this point. Get yourself as much as you can out of both tire sets. Unless, of course, there is a lap. You know, I also thought maybe if you burn your tires up here early, then you pit early, play it conservative. But if you save your tires, you run them a lot longer so that you can burn the next set you put on. We'll have to see how it pans out. But the lights on the pace truck are off. That means we will be going back green this time. And it looks like it is going to be 26 laps to go. Once we do go back green on lap 54 of 80. We are going to take another break, but you won't miss a thing as always as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway for the Tricky Triangle 200, where we are 53 of the 80 laps through this event. This 200-mile event, pretty grueling one for a lot of these guys. One of the guys that it hasn't been too grueling for, though, is Kenneth Riedinger, as he has been what looks like on a Sunday drive so far. But we saw Paul Witt get really aggressive on that last restart. Not going to be able to do it this time. Kenneth Riedinger catches him sleeping as green flag flies. And when that leader gets a good start, it keeps the rest of the field from stacking up. The bad side of that is these guys might have a chance to line up quicker and maybe put something to the 24 truck. But right now, Kenneth Riedinger back out in charge where he's been all day after they exit turn 1. The 31 Joey Hickox trying to get a little bit of a draft. That first lap is your best chance at it while the tires are fresh. It looks like Paul Witt trying to get to the inside of Joey. He couldn't quite do it right there. Does he take another lunge at it here down into turn 3s? It looks like Brenda did say good save to the 25. And boy, you got that right. That would definitely be the Reese's Sweet move of the race if we had one. And it looks like, man, some guys got really tight. William McKellar almost cut into the wall right there off of turn 3. Joey Hickox trying to stay in the draft of Kenneth Riedinger. But already he's got that gap up to 0.3 of a second. Not as quick as we've seen him stretch it out over time as some of the other times, but now it's a matter of can we go green and see those green flag pit stops. If we end up getting a caution where it breaks it up and we don't have green flag pit stops, that could really change the outcome of this race as well. Tell you what, actually, you know what, hold that thought. I was just ready to do a crank it up, but Joey Hickox is back knocking on the back door of Kenneth Riedinger, but you see Kenneth just ran the tunnel turn so much better. Joey can get a good 3 right here. He might have a chance. Let's see. It looks like he is going to take a little bit of a more conservative arc in. That's trying to set himself up for exit. Let's see down the front stretch. Does the 31 have anything for Kenneth Riedinger? Nothing yet. Looking at the blimp cam again. Shows you that closing distance all the way into turn 1. It really starts to close up, but it's not going to be enough. And on that note, let's do a little Pocono crank it up. Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. Again, a little bit hard here to do at Pocono, so we don't have the camera angles that we do at a lot of the other tracks. But Kenneth Riedinger still leading the way. He has that gap up to over half a second. If you notice there, during our Crank It Up, Sam Boutwell had quite a bit of damage in the 47 truck. He's still back here battling, but the right front of that thing not looking too pretty. Neither is the left side and left front of Chris Akers, who looked like he had quite a bit of promise at the start of the night. Justin Parham, wanted to make a note about him. He is in 18th, and you know, I know that's not nearly as good as what we're used to seeing from the 19, but with the issues he has had tonight, the fact that he is up here on the lead lap in 18th is impressive enough in itself, but he does unfortunately have some damage to the right side of it, so he is probably not going to be able to make up as many positions as he would have liked to. We are in the final 25 laps here at Pocono. However, that's still a long way. Remember, this track is 2.5 miles in length. That's the same as Daytona. The difference is these guys are not flat out the whole way around this track. The front stretch is longer, the longest front stretch on any of the tracks that we go to here in the Truck Series, at least for NOMA, and pretty much all of NASCAR. And your fun fact of the day, Pocono, you see on the backstretch here, that catch fencing they have up top used to not be there. And then Casey Kane one year didn't flip, but got airborne, got into the bushes that used to hang over that safer barrier, and they decided maybe we should add some fencing here. As caution is back out on the track now for Fuzz Yater. And what happened here? Ooh, the 84 pointed in the wrong direction. So this looks like it is on the straightaway from turn 1 to the tunnel turn. That has seemed like the area where we have had quite a few issues today. Let's see what happens here if it was contact or if he just got loose by himself. See, 3 wide, Justin Parham. Ooh, Justin looks like just got way too hot. Getting in there, slid up, got right up into the 84. We'll take a different shot of it here. And yeah, the 19 just got in there a little too hot. Obviously nothing intentional. He does a good job holding on to it. The 84, on the other hand, not sure if it was quite as fortunate. Let's take a look from TV2. Man, it almost didn't give them the contact initially. And is the 84 going to keep it out of the wall? No, unfortunately, slight contact. But overall, a pretty good save here in terms of not destroying that truck. And doesn't really look like it's too bad on the right front. Let's look at this from the chopper view. A little bit of a rare mistake here from Justin Parham. It looks like he just got in. Watch, same thing here as the first track where you see he's in between the seams. That 84 is. Justin Parham on the apron. The 84 was maybe coming down slightly, so it definitely wasn't quite as egregious, but I think Justin Parham, like I said, was just sliding up a little bit there. Made contact with him. Ooh, the 1 makes contact with the 74. And the 19 does some drifting action. Man, just barely missed where that wall kind of spits out a little bit. And then the 84 right here locks it down just a little bit too late, but contact right here, I don't think that's enough to really do too much. At least we hope it's not. That does bring out what is going to be your 6th caution of the night. 4th one that wasn't scheduled. Of course, we did have the 2 for the stage breaks, and now it is going to be right on that fuel window for these guys. They all are coming down to pit road now, being led by the race leader, Kenneth Riedinger, Joey Hickok, 2nd, Paul Witt, 3rd. But I mean, at this point, everybody should be able to make it to the end, so this should eliminate any chance of green flag pit stops. But if we do see another caution towards the end, then it becomes a question of who has tires, and do you pit or do you try to keep your track position? And I think with what we've seen tonight, if you're trying to get the win, you're going to have to pit. I think tires are the only chance you're going to have at beating this 24 truck. However, if you're just trying to get a good finish like a lot of these guys are, maybe you stay out. I'll tell you what, we just saw some 2-tire stops, and that is going to shake some things up because we are going to have some new leaders. Those new leaders are going to be Matthew Dyer and Robert Duvendak, the 2 and the 99. I really like this. This is going to make this restart really exciting. The driver out of Santa Rosa, California, and the Reese's Machine, the driver out of Canton, Ohio, Robert Duvendak for Shooter McGavin Motorsports. They are going to make Kenneth Riedinger earn it right here. Should be about an 18-lap run once we go green, assuming no more cautions. So I do think over a long run, tires might prevail, but these guys might be thinking that we are going to see another caution, knowing that cautions do breed cautions. And let's see if we can bring up Robert Duvendak or Matthew Dyer to talk to them about the strategy call here. Hey, Matthew Dyer, this is all set up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, it looks like you're playing a little strategy here. I'll tell you what, it made me excited up here because I know this is going to make the racing really intense here. What were you thinking here on the strategy play?
I only have one set of tires left because I pit before, I believe before the end of stage 2. So really, I only have one set of tires left, so I don't want to use it just in case if I need it later, but you know, it's worth the risk.
All right, well, I mean, you do have the track position now. We know, obviously, clean air is better than dirty air. So you're going to try to fight really hard to stay on the lead here? Or if you see that 24 getting big in your mirror, do you just let him go?
I think I got to be careful with the 24. I've seen what that nose can do to other trucks, so you know, we'll see.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we are looking to trying to move Matthew Dyer back to his team here. That is why you probably hear me going quiet. He's on Spino Racing. That's what we're looking for right here. So give me just a second. We appreciate whenever these guys give us the in-race interviews. On some of the super speedway, I'll tell you what, on some of the tracks, what I'd like to do, which I've done with certain other guys, is we'll do interviews while they're in race, but I'll tell you what, Pocono, it's not the track you want to be trying that, especially not with as crazy as this restart's about to get. If you missed the whole race and you're just now tuning in, that's okay because you're about to see what is most likely going to be the best part. Robert Dubendak, Matthew Dyer. You heard Matthew Dyer say he's going to be a little careful. He doesn't really like the nose of that 24 truck, and he doesn't want to see himself get spun out. He's looking for just a good run overall tonight. If he could get another caution, takes those last set of tires, he might be in good shape. The 99 Robert Dubendak, one of the veterans in here, we know he is going to be aggressive. But I think I'm looking back here at some of these other guys. If they somehow get a chance to take advantage, will they do it? Nancy Hickok says, let's go Spino Racing. Good luck. And these guys are going to need it right here. It's about to get wild. It's about to get crazy. It's, well, what it's been the whole night has been tricky for a lot of these drivers. We have seen a lot of guys getting loose spinning. We've seen a couple guys overshooting turn 1, a couple guys missing the tunnel turn. And now we are going to see if anybody can hold off the 24. The 2 has the advantage of using that Geico restart zone, and he really needs to use it to his advantage here. If he can get a big jump, that might be his best shot to hold off Kenneth Riedinger. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. 18 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. And the 2 got a good restart, but guess who else did? That 24 of Kenneth Riedinger. Wow, Robert Dubendak. Looks like maybe kind of just let him go here. And Matthew Dyer's probably saying, well, dang, I was hoping you guys would race a little bit back there, but into turn 1, how long will the 2 tires outlast 4 tires? Kenneth Riedinger already getting to the outside, and he already is looking to have a run. He did have to burp it a little bit. Looking a little bit further back, we have a couple battles going on midfield and back. Looks like the 5 of John Bell is going to see if he can get the best of Matthew Fritz. The 14 Vicente Guerrero, he is trying to get clear of Russ Kilgore. Ooh, the 28 got a little tight. Can he keep it off the wall? It looks like he does. The 5 of John Bell sliding around. So is the 25 DJ Mattis, but he is no stranger to sliding around. We saw the save he had earlier. James Scamordella. He is back here. Matthew Dyer still leads the way, though, out of turn 4, the first lap back green. Kenneth Riedinger, here we go. He's got the run. Can he take it here before we get to turn 1? Does the 2 thing about blocking. I think he's going to play it smart here, and sure enough, that's what he's going to do. He is not going to throw a block on the 24. Yanks high to the low side. Kenneth Riedinger, he is going to try the slide job. The 2 is trying to hold on up top, but he just doesn't quite have the tires to do it. That is going to allow Robert Dubendak to take a look at potentially going by. He's not quite able to. He tucks back in line. Kenneth Riedinger back out in the lead. Here comes Joey Hickox. He is another one of those drivers that is on all 4 new tires. And he's trying to take advantage of him while he's got him. And he knows the quicker he gets by these guys, the better shot he is going to have at Kenneth Riedinger with 17 laps to go here at Pocono. Paul Witt side by side with Robert Dubendak. We have not really seen that outside making much progress here in turn 3. It seems like it's worked for the most part in turn 1, at least if you're on new tires. It's worked a couple times in the tunnel turn, but just has not worked much in that final turn 3. Going back here, the 19, Justin Parham, currently sitting 19th. Everybody else is single file. It looks like we now have 21 trucks on the lead lap after those couple cautions. A couple guys got it back. Fudge Yater, the only truck a lap down. Randy Bonomi, the only truck that has retired from the race. Kenneth Riedinger has the gap up to half a second and continues to stretch it. No more pit stops, don't forget. So at this point, use all your stuff up. Of course, you don't want to use it up right away because 15 laps, which is going to be what it is once we cross the line, is still a lot of racetrack that you're going to have to go around. But Joey Hickox, once he gets to the end of this thing, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about trying to make a pit stop, he is going to give it all he's got. So is Paul Witt. But if those two get to battling too much, then they may not have a shot at the leader. Ooh, looked like Paul Witt initially was starting to get a little tight. You saw the front end start to plow up the track, but he holds on. And Joey Hickox now sets his sight on the 24. Kenneth Riedinger gets a draft down the front stretch. And that draft, I'll tell you what, I mean, we've seen it pretty consistently. It'll tick off between 2 to 3 tenths. That's a lot. That's almost a third of a second on just one straightaway. The 75 William McKellar looks like he just got by the 99 Robert Duvendak. And you're seeing that two-tire strategy, while a valiant effort may be starting to not pay off as well. Those guys are probably hoping to get one more caution somewhere within the final 10 laps. And I would not put it out of the question just yet. We saw the first two stages go pretty much clean. We saw stage 1, of course, go green all the way. Stage 2 green for most of it. Stage 3 has been a little bit more caution-filled so far. And I think it may not be a bad strategy call to have a set remaining in the pits no matter what. You got to think Kenneth Riedinger has a set left. I mean, as fast as he has been, there's no need for him to try to take any special tire strategy of taking extra tires to maybe make some track position, as he has had the best track position all night so far. 14 laps to go. Once we get in that final 10 laps, that is where time starts to tick down. Joey Hickox still trying everything he can right now. Let's ride on the gearbox of your current leader, Kenneth Riedinger. He sees that 31 was maybe starting to get a little bit bigger in his mirror, so he started trying to break that draft again. We don't see that at all the tracks, but we have seen it a lot here at Pocono. And there's the view out of the front windshield of the 31 Hickox Racing driver, Joey Hickox, as he continues to try to track down Paul Witt. You see, looks like he's running pretty much the same line. It looks like Kenneth Riedinger actually ran a higher liner out of 3 and 4. Little interesting. We'll have to see if that uses up more or less tire, as he does a little snake draft here down the front stretch. Joey's going to close it back down to the low 0.7s, but Kenneth continuing to stretch. I think Kenneth really beats these guys in that tunnel turn. Kind of interesting. You see how at this track, it looks, at least from the view of Joey Hickox, the back end almost looks a lot more skewed, at least in the turns, than it does at a lot of the tracks we go to. So you can almost see the side of Kenneth's truck there. And taking a ride on board here now with your current leader, Kenneth Riedinger. And boy, he runs that tunnel turn really good. Oh, he did have to get out of the throttle right there. Didn't run that turn as nice as he would have liked to, but it doesn't look like Joey was really able to capitalize on it much. Kenneth Riedinger, he has won a couple so far this season, but I think Pocono would be one to be pretty proud of, because like I said, there's just no turns that are the same as any of the others. A lot of the other tracks, a lot of guys have a chance. Here at Pocono, if you win, you know that you really were the class of the field. And with 12 laps to go, Kenneth Riedinger has got to start to be feeling a little bit better and better by himself. Once we get within that 5 to go, he might start to put that thing on cruise control and just try to ride, but not yet, because Joey Hickox is still keeping him honest within a second. Back here we do have a battle between Vicente Guerrero and Robert Duvendak. That's going to get really close to almost some contact. The 99 is going to get high. Almost no, he does touch the wall. Vicente Guerrero is now going to try to take advantage and go around the outside. And the 14 now going to get on the back bumper of the 99, but wasn't able to make a pass. The Ford Chris Akers, he has used his fast pair, so he is going to try to make as many positions as he can up before the end of this thing. There goes Vicente Guerrero. This time he is going to get some help from one of the Reese's trucks. That is Chris Akers. Thought maybe the same candies would be working together, but doesn't seem to be the case, because Chris Akers did not go with Robert Duvendak. He went with Vicente Guerrero. That is a Max Speed TV driver. They aren't teammates in the Truck Series, but Chris Akers, I believe, is a Max Speed TV driver in the Super Speedway Series, which is on Mondays, and that's a pretty cool series. Make sure you guys go check that out. Of course, I do have the Discord link in the description if anybody out there that is watching would like to get in on the action. Of course, I know most people are out here rooting for their driver. And who do you have winning this thing? I think I could take a wild guess at who most people's pick would be, but you never know. And I'll tell you what, Joey Hickox and Paul Witt are doing a heck of a job here. I mean, all things considered, Kenneth Riedinger this time only has the gap up to a second, which is a pretty big gap. Nonetheless, they will be able to hold on to that draft as long as they're within 1.5 seconds. After that, that draft will no longer be a thing, and Kenneth Riedinger is trying to get to that threshold right now. The field continues to spread out, though, here over what's just been a 10-lap run. When you see it there, they were almost a straightaway spread out. And I think by the end of this thing, we might be close to half the track spread out, which is a long way here at Pocono. And I'll tell you what, I've driven Pocono before, and it's just, I know we talk about that it's the same distance as Daytona, but it really doesn't feel like it. It just feels so much longer. I mean, you have that really, really grueling front stretch, extremely long. You have the short shoot through turns 2 and 3, and then you have that second straightaway from turn 1 to turn 2. But the art of breaking the draft, something that they didn't really do in the Truck Series a while back, but guys on iRacing, they do every trick in the book, and that is one of them. Kenneth Riedinger, of course, not having to do it anymore because that gap is now at 1.2 seconds, and I think he's realized at this point it is all about running his race. He's not really racing anyone else at this point except for himself. And no mistakes for the next 9 laps is going to be key for the 24 truck. Back here, though, we do still have a battle for what is going to be second. Right now, it's more of a battle for third as William McKellar is trying to see if he can get around Paul Witt in the 429. Gives him maybe a little shove there down the straightaway. He's going to tuck it. You see different entries there into the tunnel turn. It looked like William McKellar backs it off, takes a more conservative approach. That should save him some tire in the long run here. Joey Hickox and Paul Witt, a little bit more of an aggressive line. And you really don't want to run the same line as the guy in front of you if you don't have to, because you see right there, once he gets into that draft, the truck behind, or the truck in front of him in the turn, it'll take off some of the air off the nose of that 75. He gets a little tight, washes up. Matthew Dyer, Chris Akers are going at it. Chris Akers, heck of a comeback here late, up 13 spots where he started in the 5 spot. 5th position, good top 5 run right now for the Hickox Racing driver. Joey Hickox is the highest Hickox Racing driver. He has been the highest running Hickox driver for all the night, just about. Randy Bonomi was out in front for just a little bit, but that was when he was under caution, of course, and he did fall to the back. The gap now back under a second, and as I say that, it stretches out, so maybe I should stop saying anything to stop jinxing him, but surely you got to assume here that Kenneth Riedinger has made sure he's conserved his tires, knowing that he has the lead. He does, but you never know, because you got drivers like Chris Akers. Chris, I don't think is going to have a chance to get quite to the lead, as he is currently 3.5 seconds back, but drivers like Chris Akers, they're making sure they save their tire. They don't use it early, and then in the late going, it is so fun to just watch all those trucks all of a sudden fall back, and there's just nothing they can do. You feel like you're on 4 fresh tires to guys who are on tires with ice on them, I guess, or however you want to put it, but 7 laps to go here at Pocono. And the gap is holding around a second now. Joey Hickox has pulled away from third and fourth. And I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the lap times, ladies and gentlemen. Don't count this thing out just yet. There you go, compare them up. Joey Hickox, it looks like the last 2 laps has been about a 10th slower. But the 2 laps before it, he was a 10th and then 3/10 faster. So you never know here. As long as he can keep it within 1.5 seconds, he's got a chance. He's got to try to hang with him on the turns, though. He knows that front straightaway is his biggest enemy right now. Kenneth Riedinger, that is, knows that front straightaway is his biggest enemy because that's where Joey Hickox can pull back 2 or 3/10 without doing much. All he's got to do is ride and follow whatever lane that 24 goes in, and now it's down to 0.8 seconds. Joey was faster that lap. And Kenneth is starting to feel it now. You see him starting to break the draft. He's going to have to hold him off for 5 more laps into the tunnel turn. Has Joey found something here late? Look like Joey's running a little bit lower. That makes me think Kenneth may be starting to get tight. And I'll tell you what, if Joey could somehow pull this off, and I'm rooting for him right now, not because I'm biased necessarily to any of these guys, but who doesn't love a great comeback and a great battle for the win? It would be probably his best of the season, I have to say, and he's closed it down a little more now. It's down to 0.7 seconds. We do have one in the pits further back. Not going to affect anything up front. We'll go take a look back at it. I'm not sure exactly who it was. Robert Duvendak's in the pits. And that may be taking some tires here, hoping for a caution. I'm not sure, but we're going to do one more run through the field before we keep it up front to see if Joey can keep or get a chance at maybe going for the lead here. Fuzz Yater in the 84 is currently running in last. The last truck still in the field, and that is not the best run, but he's only down one spot from where he started, all things considered. Robert Duvendak, 21st. Sam Boutwell, 20th. Guy Braco, 19th. James Scamordella, 18th. 17th, Robert Jordan. Mark Jackson, 16th. DJ Maddish, 15th. Albert Hewins, 14th. 13th, Jeff Carl. 12th, Justin Parham. 11th, John Bell. 10th, Edward Smith. 9th, Vicente Guerrero. Matthew Fritz up 11 spots in 8th. 7th, Matthew Dyer. Russ Kilgore, 6th. Chris Akers in 5th. Paul Witt, 4th. William McKellar is 3rd. Oh, we got one crash. Caution's out. Caution is out. It's Robert Jordan. Hold on just a second. No, the 74. That is going to finish his night off as that thing is totaled. Just when you think we're going to finish this thing, all of a sudden we're not, but it's going to be crazy. This is going to put everyone on new tires with what is going to be an overtime finish. Oh, man, this is going to be fun, but let's go take a look here what happens to the 74 Robert Jordan. Man, he's already beaten up at this point. Wow, looks like a ton of things happen here. I'm not even sure where this initially starts. It's going to start in the tunnel turn. It looks like that's the 79, James Scamordella. Boy, he's had a little bit of a rough night. The 74 looks like he's getting a little tight here. And the 79 is trying to get below. I think the 74 is out of the throttle. 79's coming up the track. Ooh, yeah. Yikes. James just gets into the 74 here. And then they're going to make some more contact down into the inside wall. And then that kind of ramps the 74 over him, and then he's going to get back into that inside wall pretty hard. And everybody else sneaks by. That is one of the max speed TV drivers. Robert Jordan had a tough night, made a comeback, and this is not going to help his situation. And that's a tough one there. Got to think Robert's not going to be too happy about that. Almost got up and over. But then that's the finishing hit right there that does all the damage to that front end and pretty much totals the engine for that 74 truck. Let's take a couple more views of it here. Back this up again here. We'll take a shot of it from TV2, or TV3 rather. And you see he's up the track. He's really out of the throttle. That's where the contact is made. And boy, if you were sitting in the grandstand, you might have got to see the underside of that 74 truck. And now let's take one more view right on board here. See what happens. I think he just got tight initially too, is what initially sparked it. And see, he gets high here. Yeah, things just not turning. You see he's out of the throttle on the brake, and then nothing he could do. Innocent bystander kind of got spun around, and then there was the initial contact, got it locked down, but not going to be able to avoid that secondary contact. Let's go back live. And up front, Kenneth Riedinger is your current leader. And I'm going to go to intermission here just for a second so I can check some of the data, so we will be right back. Stick with us. And I take it back because these guys are going to answer my question. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any pit stops because of how important they're going to be, but they're doing them right now, so we don't have to worry about going to break. And Kenneth Riedinger let him down. Russ Kilgore, bold strategy. He is going to stay out. And so is Robert Duvendak. A couple guys are staying out. Hold on, this is really going to get exciting. Kenneth Riedinger, does he take 4? Does he take 2? What about the rest of the field? Do they try to maybe change it up? And those battles that I was waiting to see all night, we might see him here. Does Kenneth Riedinger win the race out of pit road? It's going to be close, and it looks like he doesn't. Joey Hickox is going to win the race out of pit road. Jeff Carl, I believe, got second. Kenneth Riedinger is wondering what just happened, as he is going to be back to 6th place on this restart. Russ Kilgore stays out, and he has himself the lead. It is going to be an overtime finish. And quick reminder of the overtime rules. Take a Justin Parham also stayed out here. He's got some damage, so I'm not a little interested on what the call here was for the 19. We'll have to find out. But reminding you of the overtime rules, if we take the white flag, then no more cautions. We'll finish the race whether they all wreck or don't. But if these guys were to get in an incident and the yellow flies before we take the white flag, then we would rack them up and try it again. And we should be getting a 1-to-go signal this next time. We will head over. Give you a quick reminder. The next place the Ghost Racing Network stops is tomorrow night. It's the Promoters All-Star Series. And this is a different event. It is money racing. You see the prizes there. First, second, and third. 340, 240, 140. This is only going to be a race between the guys that were eligible from those 4 promoters that you see at the top. Those are all guys that host money races. And guys that have won in those are going to be the guys that you will see on track. Tomorrow, server opens at 8:30, qualifying at 8:55. We will be going green at 9 or 9:05, and the stream will be starting at 8:55. So hopefully we see some people back there. Stage break at lap 30 with $100 on the line to spice things up as well. Of course, Monday we do head over to the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series, but we will leave that for tomorrow. And before we get to any of that, we have what could be one of the best finishes, best races for the finish here of the season right here. I'll tell you what, the race itself, I didn't feel as excited for, but man, I've seen some of the things these guys have been able to do so far, and all the factors that you're going to have in this restart. I mean, you have the fastest guy of the race no longer starting in the front seat. He's going to be starting in 5th, the furthest back he's been starting all night. You got a guy like Robert Duvendak who just came down the pit. You got to feel like his tires are still pretty good. He's going to be starting up here in the 2nd row. You got a guy that stayed out, Russ Kilgore, Justin Parham. His night has been not good at all so far, and now he's got a shot at it. You can't really, you have no idea what's going to happen here. Joey Hickox, the man who's been running 2nd fastest, maybe had something for Kenneth Riedinger, we don't know, but now he is also starting in front of the 24. And earlier I could have told you who I thought was going to win this, and now I don't think I have a clue. These guys are finally going to be doing that thing where they go 4 and 5 wide on the front stretch. Hopefully they can keep it clean, though, because we have a lot of competitive trucks still with a chance of this thing. William McKellar, Paul Witt, don't count those guys out. How about the 98 of Jeff Carl? He is up here in the 6th spot. Edward Smith has shown some speed. He is back in 11th. Matthew Dyer. Him and Russ Kilgore have been kind of the same all night overall, but they split strategies right here, and the intensity is definitely going to be picking up for these guys right now. Joey Hickox is thinking about what can he do to beat the 24 to a punch. He can't let him get by. I think if he lets him get by, he's going to be in trouble, but he's got a good shot here with all 3 trucks on the front row being on old tires. Here we go for the final time. Green flag is back out at Pocono. The 28, Russ Kilgore, gets a huge jump. The 99, Robert Duvendak, not able to follow. Joey Hickox trying to get to the outside. Here we go. He's going to go 3 wide. No, he stays 2 wide. Take that back, but if he can get to the bottom, he might. 3 wide further back with Paul Witt. Almost contact between him and William McKellar. Now we see Kenneth Riedinger on the outside. The 24 is trying to get around the 31. Joey Hickox racing as hard as he can. He slams the door on Kenneth Riedinger. Here we go down the straightaway into the tunnel turn. Who can get the advantage? The 31 was able to hold off Kenneth Riedinger, and now he is fighting Paul Witt. Oh, there's contact. Huge hit into the wall. We got a couple trucks in the wall. Oh, another one spins. That's 89. Edward Smith. Oh, he gets T-boned. Kenneth Riedinger into the wall with not James Scamordello, Paul Witt. 2 of the most dominant guys of the night are done. Oh, the 89 was going back down there. I'm not sure what that was, but oh my goodness. Hold on just a second. And this was 2 guys going at it about as hard. And just before this incident happened, I saw these 2 on each other's door, and I was sitting there wondering, are they going to be okay? And then sure enough, you saw on the camera angle here, as it looks like they're both getting ready to come down pit road right here. Both trucks destroyed. Good news is they do both have a fast spare, and they are going to use them. Just got to make sure that nobody gets a speeding penalty. Kenneth Riedinger. Oh, is he going to... Oh, wow. He's actually going to tow. As I'm not sure if that's somehow quicker or what, but interesting strategy there from the 24. But let's go take a look at it. Major trauma shaking this thing up late. Oh man, the contact's already been made. Let's start with the chopper view. I think Paul Witt was trying a really hard side draft here. You see the 24, Kenneth Riedinger, is trying to push Joey Hickox. He wants to get clear, and oh man, I mean that is neither of these guys' fault. I mean, you saw the 24 maybe slightly creeping down. Paul Witt maybe slightly creeping up. They just barely touch each other, and once they get hooked together, they really get hooked together, and then after that, it's on here. Watch this hit. Man, 24 spinning back up the track. Looks like nobody else does get involved, at least not in that part. We saw Edward Smith. He had an incident. This was further up, so let's see what happens here. You'll see this incident happen between Paul Witz, Kenneth Riedinger. There they go on the wall. And then 3 wide as they're trying to miss it. Ooh, the 69 Guy Brayco gets into the 89. And he gets clobbered by Albert Hewins, who just had nowhere to go. Let's take a look at this from Kenneth Riedinger's point of view in a couple ways. And there's the initial big hit. Now let's ride on board Kenneth. And man, what went from a dominating day that looked like a driver that had the win all but locked up, but he is going to have a lot of work ahead of him now, and that's if he can hopefully not go a lap down here. If he goes a lap down, then that will just about end his night, and it looks like still sitting on pit road here. The field is working their way right now through the tunnel turn. Sorry, turned 1 actually, excuse me. So I believe Kenneth has now already went a lap down. That would end his night if he has. And we are going to have some guys who maybe didn't think they had a shot at the win all of a sudden saying, hey, this is my race to win. And a couple of those guys, actually a handful of those guys are going to be your top 5. Russ Kilgore first, Robert Dubendak second, Joey Hickox third, William McKellar fourth, Matthew Dyer rounding out the top 5. But let's talk about your top 10 because I think they're going to have a chance at it too. Vicente Guerrero 6th, 7th, Matthew Fritz 8th, Justin Parham 9th, Sam Boutwell, and rounding out the top 10 is Chris Akers. And I do want to see if maybe I can get one more interview with one of these guys, because with a shakeup that big, you got to wonder what's on the minds of some of them. And let's see if we can get a word here from Robert Duvendak. Hey, Duvendak, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy? Well, I'm good, man. Let me unmute you here so everybody can hear you. But, I mean, what a turn of events here. All of a sudden, the fastest guy in the race, he's out of it. What's the game plan now?
Yeah, I mean, flex for Kenneth. He was dominating the race, and I mean, he pretty much had this one in the bag. The race was for second at this point, and I took a gamble there with about 5 laps to go, and I pit on the green to take my last set of tires, and just said, you know what, I'm not going to win this riding in 10th, you know, on old tires. So if I can pit, take the tires, and we get a caution, and I can stay out when everyone pits, and luckily that's what happened. So here I am. I got 4 fresh tires with a couple laps on them right there, and looks like Russ is on old 24-lap tires, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
It will be interesting for sure. You got a charging Joey Hickox also on new tires there. That's going to be starting below, not below you, but below Russ Kilgore on the inside. Well, I'll tell you what, good luck. Hopefully you can hold him off, and we'll see you at the end of this.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, and that is Robert Duvendak, who is currently sitting second, leading that outside line. We're going to put him back down to his team. And, I mean, remember, we noted it earlier. We said that we thought maybe he was trying that strategy. For initially, I said, I'm not sure why he's pitting. I said, unless he's just taking some tires now, hoping that maybe he gets a caution. And, boy, he got it. He got a couple of them, in fact. And we are going to be going green this time. Kenneth Riedinger, let's check out how he's doing back here. And, man, he is still sitting on the pits. Actually, it looks like he has retired from the race. And, I mean, you do hate to see that. Had the fastest truck all night. Definitely had this thing locked up. If it wasn't for that incident between the 79 and the 74 that initially started this, we have 18 trucks on the lead lap, Robert Jordan being the last of them. Kenneth Riedinger, one of the ones that is not on the lead lap. He is off track right now, so Albert Hewins is going to go by. Actually, Kenneth Riedinger is out. Excuse me, Albert Hewins is the only truck that is a lap down, and he is going to be hoping for a caution so he can get that thing back, as we will go to him right here. Yeah, I do apologize for the camera angle there. I like Albert's truck. Nice looking gold and chrome. Moonlight Speed, it looks like, is what that says. The 14 Vicente Guerrero to his inside. But here we go up front. It might very well be the final restart if these guys only have 2. I think they might have 3 green-white checkers. But hopefully we can finish it this time. Russ Kilgore, he gets another good jump. Robert Duvendak, on the other hand, not the best start. And Joey Hickox, he is going to be able to get clear right away. This is really going to help the case for that 31 truck. Down into turn 1, Russ Kilgore right now is going to have to do a lot of blocking. Further back, they get right to racing. Matthew Dyer, Robert Duvendak going at it. Duvendak said he's got new tires, but Joey and the 2 have a little bit newer tires. And yeah, you can see it's already hurting the 99, but Joey Hickox has a run. He is going to want to get around this 28 as soon as he can, so he doesn't have to contend with the 2 of Matthew Dyer. Joey still staying patient, though, here into the tunnel turn. Russ Kilgore's got to be careful. One slip up, and Joey is going to pounce. The 28 gets a little tight. There we go. Joey's there side by side in the short chute. into turn 3. Russ Kilgore, can he hold him off? It looks like he does. Joey's going to back out of it wisely here, but now he's under fire from the 2 of Matthew Dyer. Caution is back out, and that is why he backed it down. And not sure who the caution is for. Just sitting there kind of wondering. Joey had to get out of it all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what brings out the yellow here. See if we can figure something out. And we're looking further back. Oh, there you go. The 75, William McKellar, goes for a spin. Not sure if there was contact initially here. Oh, looks like there was. Let's go to William here. And is he going to get tagged? That is the 69 of Guy Braco. And it looks like Williams coming down maybe just a wee bit. The 69 is coming up a bit. But, I mean, the tunnel turn's just too hard. A lot of times to get 2 guys through. They make some contact. And then the 75 spins around. I think the good news is here, or hopefully it doesn't look like it collected anyone else. The bad news is William McKellar unfortunately got the right side of that 75 machine into the wall pretty decently. It's not too terrible, but he may have to go in and work on it. A couple more views of it here. Give you one more final shot of it. And boy, he is, man, oh man, he almost did off the outside. I was going to say he's lucky that he didn't get tagged by any other traffic. Usually that seems to happen when you're spinning back in the middle of the pack, but everybody was able to avoid him, thankfully. Russ Kilgore, that might have been the best time for a caution because at least he'll have another chance to think of a strategy here. I think he was about to get passed by Joey Hickox, who had a huge run. And we're going to see a couple pit here, Matthew Dyer being one of them. He may have a set of tires left, and if he does, we'll see, can he make up enough time? And going back into the race info here real quick. Actually, I think we'll keep it off of that. I was going to say I'm about 99% sure that this is their last chance at a green-white checkered. So if we get another, yep, sure enough it is. 3 green-white checkers. We've already had 2. So if we draw another caution, this thing will end under caution, which of course we are hoping that we don't see. As these guys, when they've been racing great. And I'll tell you what, Joey Hickox right now is saying, guys, please keep it green at least until I can get around the 28. He has got to be feeling good. Joey going to be starting second on that outside line. Russ Kilgore is first. Joey second. Chris Akers third. Robert Duvendak was able to hang on to the top 5 still. And Matthew Fritz rounding out the top 5. Sam Boutwell 6. Guy Braco 7. Well, I'll tell you what, Sam Boutwell, let's go back just a second. Talk about this guy. Remember when he had that damage we were talking about? He was struggling. Well, here he is. Pack up inside the top 10. Almost inside the top 5. And that is an independent driver. So doing a heck of a job out here tonight. Mark Jackson 7th, Guy Braco 8th, DJ Madish 9th, and Sean Bell rounding out the top 10. We should be getting the 1 to go signal this next time, and as much as I would rather not, I do need to get a drink of water, so we are going to take just a quick break, but we will be back before this thing gets started. Stick with us. Welcome back to the Tricky Triangle 200 here at Pocono Raceway. We are on our final, what is going to be 2 laps here of the race. Caution or no caution, we will finish this thing right here once the pace truck pulls off. Russ Kilgore is going to try everything he can to hold off Joey Hickox. And it was going to be borderline on whether or not he could do it for 1 lap last time. But of course, Joey was not on the front row. This time he is. And Russ Kilgore is going to have to do everything in his power to get as big of a jump as possible here on this restart. Matthew Fritz, let's give him a shout out. Up inside the top 10, actually top 5 even, in that 48 truck. Up 14 spots from where he started. Heck of a comeback. The driver rocking the Manny Rays paint scheme for Hickox Racing. And we have had a good crowd sticking around here tonight, and they are ready to see how this thing is going to end. Joey Hickox, man, he is another one of the drivers that has worked really hard for it tonight. You kind of got to hope he wins it, but Russ Kilgore done a heck of a job with strategy play. So is Robert Duvendak. Chris Akers going to be starting on that second row as well. You can't tell who's going to win it, but we are going to find out. Here we go. Pace truck pulls off. Green flag back in the air for the final time in Pocono. The 99 got a big jump. Oh no, Joey Hickox, what happened? No, Chris Akers has crashed in the back. Oh, this is terrible news. Joey Hickox. And that is going to end his race. That is not what we like to see, but we do stay green. So let's go back up front. Russ Kilgore still trying to hold off the 99 of Robert Duvendak, trying to get around the outside into the pummel turn. Something's going to have to give. Who's it going to be? Side by side, it looks like the outside has the momentum. Can Duvendak make it stick? Sure enough, he does. New leader, but oh, there's wrecking out back. The 47 of Sam Boutwell's around, and caution is out. Robert Duvendak is going to win it. And man, I'll tell you what, Matthew Fritz looked like he was on the way, but just going to run out of time because of that. And that is going to be how the Tricky Triangle 200 ends. In torn up cars and broken hearts. And, I mean, man, you hate to see it for some of these guys. Great win, nonetheless, for Robert Duvendak with the strategy play, and he has got to be pretty ecstatic, but I mean, let's go break this down because this got pretty wild as Robert Duvendak will come across the line. Let's go all the way back to green flag here. And unfortunately, Joey just small mistake, and boy, he is probably kicking himself right now. But let's ride on board. I believe he missed a shift again. I'm not sure. I have not seen it yet, but here we go. What it seemed like there. It almost seemed like Joey was maybe in a different gear, and then once he realized it was go time, wasn't quite able. But I need a chopper view of it here. Let's see here. Chris Akers looks like, oh yeah, Joey just in the wrong gear, doesn't go, and Chris Akers gets into him and carnage from behind. Everybody else was just about able to avoid it, but still took out a lot of good trucks. For 2 really good trucks, rather, but then we go ahead here a little bit to what is going to be the incident involving Sam Boutwell, who is doing a heck of a job. Him and Matthew Fritz. Look at the ground they're going to make up on these two who are going at it. Made a little bit of contact up front. Robert Duvendak is going to take the lead here in the tunnel turn, and then just after is where you're going to see Sam Boutwell go for a spin here, which is going to ultimately end this race. He's trying to get everything he can, and he's really turning. Oh, once he gets in the wall, it's over. Back down, huge hit. Oh, man, back up the traffic. Paul Witt, oh, my goodness. Huge hit. That thing is going to end up on its roof. Let's take another look at this. Paul Witt, my gosh, he just went for a heck of a ride. Watch this. Up into the catch fence. That, I'll tell you what that looked like was Myatt Snyder's crash just about. And we will take one more view of this in the cockpit view, and then we will go get interviews from your top winners. Well, he got stuck in the catch fence. Although was probably right here thinking he could get through it, and then all of a sudden there he was. That is a wild ride for sure. At this point, you go back live and you'll see who was out in front. It was Robert Duvendak because the caution flew just after he took the lead exiting the tunnel turn. Going back to the checkered flag here. Fast forward this a little bit here. Do it the manual way so we don't have to wait. I know he did some burnouts, and that's, of course, what we're all wanting to see. And actually, I think he just, as soon as we got the check, maybe started burning it down. Either way, let's go get your top 3 in here, and we will find out. Mark Jackson, by the way, getting back in the top 3. Heck of a job. All right, and I have found your top 3. Let's start with third place finisher. Actually, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Let's not start with third place finisher because Mark Jackson, unfortunately, does not have Discord, so we will not be able to get an interview with him. Nonetheless, congratulations to Mark Jackson in the one truck. Again, heck of a comeback for him. Moving on to second, though, who we do have here in the booth, and that is Matthew Fritz. Matthew, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking at the stats, and I mean, up 17 positions from where you started, bringing it home for Hickox Racing in second. But, man, what more? I feel like, what do you think? You just needed a little bit more time there, and maybe you had a shot at him.
Yeah, I was hoping to run out of fuel. I didn't race good all day today. My teammates were way better than me. Joey and Chris Akers were definitely better than me. I was just hanging on. I'm just glad to finish second.
Well, I mean, but I'm thinking more or less, even with the fuel thing, it looked like you and the 47 were making a ton of headway just on the tires that you guys had. You think maybe, was there much more you could do there, or just needed another lap?
Yeah, I need to not go. I had 5 laps of fuel left, so I was good. So I was waiting for everybody to run out, hope it stayed green.
All right, well, unfortunately, not quite able to get the win, but I mean, either way, up 17 to finish second. Very impressive. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
I thank Manny Rays, the sponsor of the league and the sponsor of my truck, and my teammates. They always do a good job. Joey, Chris, Jay's not here, but and Randy. And I want to thank you for broadcasting.
All right, well, thank you. We certainly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, your second place finisher, Matthew Fritz, brings it home in the 48 truck. Now let's move on to the winner, the man that we talked to kind of before all the chaos really got started. That's Robert Duvidak. Robert, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Austin?
I'm good, man. I'm assuming you got to be pretty excited with the way your strategy played out. Started with the strategy that I got to guess a lot of people would have said no chance it works out. You get your caution, and then it becomes just trying to hold on. All of a sudden, 2 cautions later, here you are out in the lead. What were you thinking on that last lap?
Yeah, unfortunately, in that last lap, last restart there, I was saving all the fuel I could under those 3 green-white checkers, and coming to the green, I had about 1.9 laps of fuel in the tank. So I was like, if I don't catch a caution here, on this final restart, then I'm either gonna run out of fuel coming out of turn 4, or maybe I'll get lucky and everyone behind me will wreck and I'll be able to coast. But fortunately, it looked like Joey might have missed a shift there in the restart, which kind of stacked everyone up behind me, and then at that point it was up to me and Russ, and Russ was already over the radio saying how he was close to almost a lap short on fuel, so he was hoping for the caution to come out pretty quickly there too, and luckily I was able to get around him before that caution did come out.
All right, well, that's going to be a lot of good momentum going into the off week and then into Michigan right after that. Thanks for talking to us, but before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to thank everyone here at NOMA who runs the league for us each and every week. Got to thank Manny Rays for sponsoring both our Truck Series and Super Speedway Series. Thank you for coming on board this season, and everyone at Ghost Network for broadcasting us for the rest of the year. I gotta thank my teammates, Shooter McGavin Motorsports, and my wife and kids who let me do this, every Monday and Saturday. So.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Duvendak wins it at Pocono. And we will go over your finishing results before we let you go. Finishing first tonight was Robert Duvendak in the 99 truck. Second, Matthew Fritz. Third, Mark Jackson. Fourth, Guy Braco. Fifth, Matthew Dyer. Sixth, DJ Madish. Vicente Guerrero. Seventh, William McKellar. Eighth, Justin Parham. Ninth, and Robert Jordan rounding out the top 10. 11th, John Bell. 12th, Albert Hewins. 13th, Fuzz Yater. 14th, Jeff Carl. 15th, Chris Akers. 16th, Joey Hickox. So close, but unfortunately that one mistake is going to cost him a chance at the win. 17th, Russ Kilgore. 18th, Sam Boutwell. Moving back to 19th, Paul Witt. 20th, Kenneth Riedinger. 21st, Edward Smith. 22nd, James Scamordella. 23rd, and the last truck in the field tonight, Randy Bonomi. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It was wild. It was crazy, but Robert Duvendak was able to go and rise above all of it to get the win here at the Tricky Triangle. I hope everybody did enjoy, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.